Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Arthenex Plays Thea the Awakening. So I decided to start a new series a little bit ahead of schedule. I wasn't super happy with some of the videos towards the end of that last series. I felt like there was a lot of dead air while I was trying to figure stuff out in the game. I've also heard back from the sound developers of Thea, and they said, sure, go ahead and use the music in your Let's Play videos. So I wanted to start showing off the music because I think it's actually pretty cool. And also, a new patch just came out for the game, which radically changes a whole bunch of features in the game. So the combination of those three things made me decide to start a new series a little bit ahead of schedule. So, feel free to watch as much as... If you were enjoying the last series, by all means, keep watching it. I uploaded it for a reason. But if you would rather skip ahead to a new series, new game with, the latest patch, and hopefully I'll try and be a little bit more on the ball. I've been playing this game a ton, maybe too much. But I've played through, since I finished recording the first series, I've actually played through a couple of complete games and played on the old hard difficulty level, which is different from the new hard difficulty level, but we'll get into that in a minute. And I've kind of developed more of a strategy now. I feel like I know what I'm doing a lot better. I should be able to move a lot faster in the game, hopefully. I'm not saying there won't be any time when I'm thinking, because this is a complex game and I am going to have to think about my moves a little bit, but I should be able to minimize a little bit of the downtime, and I also should hopefully be able to move things through a little bit faster, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So anyway, with that out of the way, we're going to start a new game here. We'll override my last save game, which was, I was just poking around with the new patch. I hadn't actually done anything in the game yet. So you can see I've unlocked all of the deities now. I haven't played as all of them yet, but I have unlocked them all. I played a game as Velis. You guys saw the game I did with Mokosh, the first one I did. I also did a game with Lada over here. Her game was the easiest one of all the ones I did. It was the first one I did on the harder difficulty level, and by far the easiest. I've also done a game as Horus, and I was halfway through a game as Morena when the new patch came out, and I decided not to continue that save game because, the new patch came out. I didn't want to mess around with any changes. Well, we're going to go ahead and start a game as Perun over here, who's the last deity that you unlock. And you can see his initial bonuses. All of your villagers get a +1 bonus to armor crafting damage gathering, which is, that almost sounded like a word. Armor damage crafting gathering. Armor crafting damage gathering? Armor crafting damage gathering. I like the way that sounds. Anyway, try and say it for yourself. It kind of rolls off the tongue. Armor damage crafting gathering. Anyway, so we won't have the rest of these, obviously. We also have new options. You still have the initial focus options. I'm going to go ahead and stick with warriors. And now you have difficulty. So you have these preset settings: easy, normal, difficult, godlike, and custom. And then these are the things over here that they affect, which is pretty cool. And the final, it gives you a final score multiplier based on what you choose. So based on what I can tell, difficult is roughly the same as it was before, except it puts you on a huge map. I'm not actually going to play on a huge map. I'm going to play on a normal size map because I do not want this game to take forever. And playing on a huge map means this game is going to take forever. So, well, not forever, but a very, very long time. So we're going to do difficult setting. We'll still have true Thea world progression, which means that the difficulty of the monsters is going to increase quite rapidly as the game goes on. We're going to start seeing harder and harder monsters. We'll have a hard economy. This, from what I can tell, and I'm not 100% sure about this, but I believe this affects how much production and gathering you need to do to actually collect your resources. So with hard, you have to do extra as opposed to normal, easy. With hard, you have to do extra production in order to actually get the resources that you extra production and extra gathering points to actually get the resources that you're working on. Challenge is difficulty. I believe this affects like the size of monster layer encounters and possibly the size of event encounters, although those were not affected the last time I did this, but maybe they will be affected in this one. We'll see. It goes from experience, from novice to experienced to warlord. So we're going to stick with warlord, which is the normal difficult setting. Enemy aggressiveness, pretty self-explanatory. Will the wandering monster groups attack you, or will they turn around? Starting villagers 9, again, normal. What I don't see on here is the starting number of children. It used to be, I believe, normal, so you started with 10 villagers and 2 children. Hard was 9 villagers and 1 child. So we'll see. I'm going to leave it at 9 and see how many children we actually start with. And then you have the ability to turn on save games now. Feels like this should be worth more than a 20% score multiplier, since it kind of invalidates almost all the rest of this if you turn them on, because you can just save scum. No matter how hard you make the game, you can almost always save scum your way to victory. But anyway, we'll leave them off and stick with the single save game file, the way it was meant to be played, or something. Anyway, and we're ready to go. So I'm looking forward to trying things as Perun. You get mostly the same quests, depending you have a different god. The deity quest is different, and some of the random event text is different. Like, you have special event options to choose depending on what god you're playing as. Note that these special event options are not always better than the normal default ones. I have been stung by that a few times in some of my other playthroughs. There was a particular incident with vampires that I'm thinking of when I was playing my last game, where I chose the deity special event option, and my character one of my people immediately just vanished into a puff of smoke into thin air, which was very saddening. By the way, one of the comments on one of my earlier videos mentioned that this game is unforgiving. That is definitely true. People are going to die in this game. I mean, I've not had a perfect playthrough. This, of course, I kind of stopped playing on normal after a couple ones, but on difficult, certainly not a perfect playthrough. And yeah, people are going to die, and you might be in trouble at some point. I have given up on a couple of games very early on when I didn't get a start that I liked. I haven't lost yet, but we'll see. Maybe this will be the first game I lose. All right, so here we go. I'm probably going to rename my characters this time, just because it will help me remember which character is which. So I'll probably just kind of pick common English-sounding names instead of the Slavic names. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Slavic names, but so I'm going to start by renaming this to, we'll call this Arthenexia for our town, and we'll take a quick look at our people here. So they always, when you choose the warrior start, you get a craftsman, a medic, and 4 warriors in your starting away group, and in your starting settlement group you get 2 gatherers and a warrior. So what I'm gonna do is we'll move. Let's see what resources we're starting with. Vegetables, and are we next to that fish? We are not next to that fish. For a second, I thought I was a little bit excited that we would start next to 2 different food resources. That would have been awesome. But no, we're not next to that fish. We are 1 tile away from it. So we got vegetables and wood. Pretty standard. It's kind of what you generally start with. I had one game where I started with wood, and I've had games where I've started with wood and mushrooms. That was interesting. It was significantly harder. And I also had an abortive start where I had vegetables and coal, which would have been an interesting game to play, but I think would also have been more difficult. We're on a hill hex, so that's why it takes us 2 to move in here, but we're still going to do that. And we'll merge this up. Let's take a look. How many children are we starting with? We're starting with 1 child. Yeah. I think I don't know if that's tied now to the number of villagers you start with, but let's see. Starting resources. Ooh, we started with some scaled leather. That's good. Scaled leather is really good. A couple of monster bones. That's pretty meaningless. 5 wood and 10 dark wood. 5 regular leather. A few herbs, not very many. A little bit of string. One of our people started with a charm. Concentration, 1 gathering. Interesting. Shadow armor. Oh, we started with a warhammer. That's really good. Anytime you start with a blunt weapon, that's really good. One of my kind of principal discoveries in playing through this game is the value of blunt weapons. They're just really, really good. Occasionally I will have some swords because I kind of like to have a couple of defenders in the groups that I send out, and they're especially helpful on characters that don't do very much damage anyway, just to pile up the defense so that they can still be productive in combat. You can kind of use them as shields for your other characters, but blunt weapons are still kind of king. All right, so I'm just going to take a second here and set up my equipment because, so, medics. Medics are kind of tricky. For a long time, I wouldn't even take a medic on my starting explorations, but then I kind of changed my mind. Even though they're kind of useless in combat, the fact that they help prevent people from dying when they take a lot of damage means that I really would prefer to take him with us. But we'll kind of see what kind of equipment we can give him. So then we have our 2 gatherers here. So let's go ahead and rename our people so that I'll remember who they are. So our craftswoman, I'm going to name her Sarah. Slavomir, instead, he's going to be Fraser, a different kind of doctor, but nevertheless. All right, we got a gatherer, female gatherer. We'll just call her Rachel. We have a male gatherer. I'm just going to shorten this to Nick. We have a male warrior. I'm going to call him James. We have a female warrior. I'm going to call her Lisa. We have another male warrior. I'm going to call him Paul. Another male warrior. He's going to be Timothy. And one more female warrior. She's going to be... I'll just shorten this to Jane. Okay. So now, hopefully, that will help me remember who is who. We got Sarah, Fraser, Mick, James, Lisa, Paul, Timothy, and Jane. Okay. Now, let's take a look at their gear. Let's start by taking a look at the warriors. So, who has the most kind of carrying capacity? He has the most carrying capacity. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him the heaviest armor, which is this. And I'm also going to give him the warhammer. You can see he has just enough to carry both of them. And the warhammer doesn't provide any defense, so I want to give him as much life as possible so he doesn't just die. So that's why I'm matching them up. Then we want to do as many kind of sword and shield people as we can after the warhammer's done, although mind using these one-headed axes. So let's go down to Jane down here. Okay, she's using an axe and a shield, so maybe we'll give her the set of armor since the axe doesn't provide any defense. Can she carry? She can't carry it though. So who would have a better chance of carrying it? These guys are all 450. We'll try one of them. So you can have Jane's axe. And Paul was the one with the Warhammer, right? So James. I'll give you Timothy's armor. And then, you probably, yeah, that's going to be too heavy. So the lightest shield is 88. How much is this? This is 100. What about the other axe? That's even heavier. That's still going to be too heavy. All right, so if I want to use that other armor, I'm going to have to give you a two-handed sword, I think, which those have a little bit better weight efficiency. So it's kind of a waste, but see, how much damage do you do? 17. Now you do 14. And that's not great, but we'll do that. Okay, then Timothy. So actually, Jane, I'm going to give you an axe back then. You can use an axe and a shield. Rachel's a craftsman. Timothy, why don't you take... What shield are you using? 3 armor, 6 defense. Is there a better shield? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Timothy, let's give you this. That. Lisa. You're the last warrior. You're the last warrior we have to outfit. So let's give you... Yeah, we definitely want to have one of our warriors using that. What's the other sword we're using? Okay, let's give you that and that. And... Okay, so that's all of our... That's all of our warriors. So we have this sword, which is pretty bad. So we're going to take one of these gatherers out with us. Either Nick or Rachel here. So let's remove your weapons. See which one of you has the best raw stats. You have 7 damage. You have 8 damage. You have 11 armor and 8 damage. And 7 strength. You have 3 perception, though, which is pretty good. Perception lets you do counter tactics. Neither of you has any stealth. 300 is still enough to equip some gear. All right, I think the perception... Higher intelligence doesn't suck either. Although you have more will. Who has more speech? You both have the same speech? No, I take it back. I'm going to take Nick. So, Nick, I'm going to give you... You have 8 damage to start with. Alright, that's enough. I can give you the sword and the shield. And I'll give you this too, which gives you initiative in intellect and hex challenges. You don't have any magic, so hex challenges are going to be useless, but intellect challenges, you have 2 intelligence. Not great. Right. And that just means... So actually... Who was using a two-handed? You were using a two-handed. So we're going to have you use this instead, because this is much better. This is effectively 10 damage, 6 defense, whereas this is 4 damage, 5 defense, so that's much better. So we'll have you use that. And then... So you're coming to... Yeah, you can actually use this, which is pretty good for you. 4 damage, 5 defense, two-handed. Gives you at least a little bit of defense, a little bit more survivability. Not a lot, but that's all you can really carry. And maybe I should give you the trinket. Yeah, you have 7. Yeah, you should really be using the trinket. So we'll give you that. And then, so these... Oh yeah, these two and one of my warriors is going to stay behind. So the warrior... Which warrior should I have stay behind? Leaning towards... I want to have somebody with gathering stay behind. One gathering... They all have one... Oh, right, because they all get a bonus gathering for my deity. But none of them has more than one gathering. Do any of them have more than one craft? No, they all have exactly one craft, one gathering. Well, that's disappointing. But... to work with it. Alright, let's see. 16 damage, 16 damage. 12 damage to poison, so effectively 14 damage. You are at your carrying capacity. You actually have armor though. I kinda like to take you. Timothy, you only have 14 armor. You have 5 tactics, but that's probably more tactics than you'll need right at the start of the game anyway. Alright, so I think Timothy's going to stay behind. And then we'll outfit our stay-at-homes here. So what weapons do we have left? We have a shield and a short pike. So... which one of you guys does the least damage? You do 7, you do 6. You have 5 health. 5 health is like 8 health. Let's see, 9 armor. Alright, so I'll give you the pike, and you can just have the shield for now until we find another weapon. Alright, so that's going to be our starting equipment set up. So at the start of the game, I want to explore... So you can kind of see, one of the things I've learned here is that you can see the locations of these goody huts, these ruins, through the fog of war. You can also see monster layers that are nearby through the fog of war. So, for example, this is a goody hut over here. That's ruins. There's another goody hut here. There's another 2 all the way up here. There's a couple over here. And I don't see any down here. So here is another hive, small hive. These, I believe, are rat mounds. I believe those are rat layers. I could be wrong about that, though, but I think that's what they are. And this is a skeleton graveyard down here. Alright, so our first job is going to be to go collect those goody huts and clear out some of the monster layers that are really close to us, like this small hive, for example. Alright, so let's create our expedition to do that. So Timothy was going to stay behind. So we're going to bring... And Nick was going to be the gatherer that came. And we'll bring our doctor. Okay. So we're going to leave our craftswoman, 1 warrior, and 1 gatherer behind. And then we have to give the expedition Wow, it's kind of too bad that I don't really would prefer not to burn dark wood. But we may not have much of a choice. So you don't have to tell them not to burn something anymore. They will automatically only burn the most common thing you have, unless you don't want them to burn wood, for example. And we got to give them almost all of the food, like that. Gives them 10 days of food. All right. So we'll send them out with that. Hopefully we can. Well, we'll see what we do about the fuel situation. And then we will set up our town. So we got a new interface for gathering and crafting. Instead of multiple jobs, now you can only have one job per source that you have. So we have one source of wood and one source of vegetables next to our village. So we can only have one wood job and one vegetable job. Not that we would probably ever want more than one vegetable job, but this is important because previously, you could have all of your characters work at maximum efficiency on separate jobs. Now, if you put them on the same job, they only give you half of what they normally do. So we want wood for sure. So she gives the first person to work on it works at her full efficiency. So she has 6 gatherings. She gives plus 60. But after that, additional people only give half of their efficiency on it. So what I'm going to do, since we really need to get wood and vegetables going, is we're going to put 2 people on that one. It's going to take us 5 turns and give us 11 vegetables. That is really, really poor. And she's going to spend 2 turns on this, and it's going to give us 6 wood. So we will set that up for now, like that. And we have 5 turns worth of food. $16 food is right, because they eat 3 per turn. That might be an issue. We might just run out of food. Unless I put more gathering on it. Well, we need more wood. We desperately need more wood. So we might switch it up after a couple of turns. But we'll start off with them like that. And then you guys... so you already spent 2 movement points to move into town. So you only have 3 movement points left. I was going to start off going that way. But maybe, since the terrain is easier, we'll go pick up these 2. There's nothing beyond those. We also start off with 1 research point. So before I decide what direction I'm going to go, I'm going to spend my research point to pick up spider silk, because now they reduce the number of resources you get from selecting these, which is kind of, well, it makes the game harder, obviously, especially the early game. So we're going to select spider silk, because spider silk is a really important early game resource, because my first goal when starting the game, the first thing I'm going to try and make is more and better crafting materials. So you can see there's the spider silk up there. That is pretty far. It could be really far depending on... It looks like I can get around this lake going up this way. So we might send our people up in that direction pretty early on. So maybe we'll start off going this way. We'll pick up these 2, we'll clear this out, and then we'll send them back around this way. It looks like there might be a lot of water, based on the fact that there's nothing I can see. Is that something? That might be something. I think I can see through the fog of war over there. There might be a lot of water over there, which would be nice. Or there might not. All right. So we will move our guys out here. And we'll do a little bit of combat before we end the first episode of our new game, because we'll attack the small hive. So, used to be this was 8 bees on normal and 9 bees on difficult. Let's see how many it is this time. It is 9 crazed bees. Are those different than normal bees? I guess we'll find out. So, you can only play 1 card. I think I want to get him out there as soon as possible. So I'll play him. Then they're going to play probably 2 crazed bees. Those they just looks like they just renamed them. I can still only play 1 card, but I really want to get him some defense. We don't have any stealth, so we can't do first to act. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a protect ally so he doesn't take too many wounds, hopefully. Even though he's probably going to play, 2 more bees. He only has 1 more card to play. Well, now we can play 2 cards. So we can do another protect ally, and then another card to move some things after him in the order. Okay, interesting. Well, it means it's probably going to be pretty safe to play him. He's probably not going to take much damage. With 17 defense, hopefully he won't take too much real damage. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 the first time. He's probably going to take some real damage. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and play him. Him out there. And then we could do a get closer or a counter tactic. I think counter tactic is better. I mean, I could have done a protect ally on him. 7. I think he'll be okay. We'll see. Alright, so he's going to take 12. Or no, 15. 4, 7, 10, 12. No, he took 12. And then he gets to go. Right, he took out 2 of those. Now, who's he? Alright, he attacked forward. Good. And he killed that guy. Good. And he killed that guy. Good. So now he's going to take 2 points of real damage. Considering that we were fighting 9 bees, 2 points of real damage is an acceptable outcome. More than acceptable. Fantastic, really. Especially, although we were going first. Not that doesn't make as much of a difference when you are fighting bees. So we'll play these 2, and then we'll end the turn. And then we don't need to play out the rest of our hand because so you can just kill him. Awesome. All right. So that was not too hard. We defeated some crazed bees. He took 1 wound. A perfectly acceptable outcome. And that's going to be it for our first turn. And I also think I'm going to end the video here. I'm going to aim for a little bit shorter videos on this series. We'll see. I have a nasty habit of losing track of time and going way over, but I'm going to end this one here. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you're enjoying the new series. I will try to be a little bit, move things along a little bit quicker this time. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time, and until then, have a terrific day.